Mom.
Yes, Kath?
It's almost September,
It is.
and our lesson program's about to start back up. And our lesson program started in the 90s, I think, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
90,
Even before that, really,
90.
but I mean the actual program.
The one we still teach, the
that we-
tritone one.
Yeah, that we hired teachers for. And all
With
that.
Carlos, because Carlos has been teaching with us for 28 years now.
Well, not that long, 25 I think.
25
about.
years?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. The
And
studio.
did he start when we first opened, or did he start later?
He started a little bit later, but I think the studio in Abbotsford first opened about 93, 94.
September? 93-ish? So
Yeah,
20
give it
years?
22.
22 years?
Yeah.
And why did we start teaching with the program we teach with? Because there were lots of different programs we could have taught instead.
Well,
we could have done a conservatory
think-
program, we could have done a Suzuki program,
Yeah.
but instead we did the techniques program.
Well, we might have checked with Dad a little bit, but as far as I know, Techniques Academy was in conjunction with also the selling of the Techniques keyboards. And there must have been like a program. What did they set up, Dean?
It was a program that actually taught the technology of how to use the technology. So not only are you learning how to play music, but in the early days you're actually learning how to do the technology. We actually opened the studio in '88 on Burquin.
In 88?
Yeah, in '88 is when we opened the studio on Burquin.
Oh wow, I thought it was earlier, longer, not that long ago. So I was 3.
It probably has been about 27 years. Carlos has been with us 25.
So by technology, I assume what you're meaning is which buttons to push on the
How
to
to
make the
use the
background
keyboards.
and
Well, we
what-
still
what-
teach that.
Well,
Yeah,
actually how to
but-
build sequencing, right? And
How-
how to build...
How to layer the tracks.
How to layer the tracks and how to orchestrate it. So you're not just teaching, right, or how just to use the instrument, you're actually teaching how to use all the instruments of an orchestra.
Okay, so I learned on an acoustic piano, which is very limiting. You don't have to play in time unless you're using the metronome or whatever. So this system that you folks had would have done that instantly, taught everybody to play in time immediately.
I know when I started with the system when I was about 13, after having only learned on acoustic piano, the reason I got frustrated and quit was because I had to be able to play in time, and I just couldn't wrap my head around 4 beats per bar. Couldn't do it.
In time, yes.
In time, yes.
Well,
yes.
the background rhythm, I think if you're naturally inclined and have a good ear, it doesn't take very long. I've seen little kids 4 and 5,
I
as soon
know.
as they listen, they've got it.
And I think that the way that we teach too has a more well-rounded, program to it. You get better musicians out of it, wouldn't you say, someone?
Well, I would certainly say you get happier musicians, probably better. Happiness creates being better. When you're strictly confined to just using an acoustic piano, you can certainly make it sound wonderful, as so many of the artists over the years have proven. But to keep the interest of young people and to keep going, as Dad mentioned, with technology, you really do have to learn to use all the available systems.
And if people really want to see how successful the program is, we have at least 4 or 5 years now worth of our concert videos up on the website. So you can go